So sometimes when you watch the NBA Finals, you always have these like observations. I know I always have observations. I'm always looking at more of the, not just the game, but who's in the stands, the technical side of it, the crowd, the atmosphere. I'm always trying to find something that maybe other people don't get a chance to notice. Everyone's always looking at the action on the court, and I'm looking at not only the action on the court, but I'm looking at how the benches, on both sides, are they excited? Are they sitting down? Like the coaches and stuff. I always get excited when I see a run happen. Like yesterday, there was a big, Nuggets run, and Eric Spoelstra calls that timeout, and he's like walking like he's just so upset, but yet, you call the timeout because you're mad that your team is giving up points, and you stop the run, but you got to be humble in the timeout. Like you got to keep calm, knowing I know he wanted to pull his hair out. But last night or yesterday, I got a chance to watch the game with my mom. So, she's in town, she was visiting. So I said, you know what, let's watch the game. So we're watching it, and she has like all these observations, and I'm like, how do you get that? And this is how I always knew that people, when you come together, we all see certain things differently. We all watch the game differently. So I have top 5 observations yesterday from my mom while we're watching the game. I'm like, how do you get that? So number 1 was yesterday, there was a sequence in the game in which Bam Adebayo takes about a 20-foot jump shot on the side. First thing she says is, why is he taking that shot? He's too big to take that shot. And I'm like, Mom, he's hit that shot before, right? That is actually part of his game. I promise you, 2 more trips down the floor, he's inside the paint and hits like a little, 8-footer. She's like, see? You see what happened? He listened to me. He heard me. And he actually makes the shot. Like, it's one of those things. I'm like, okay. But it was funny because she notices that. But yet, it did look kind of uncomfortable. He's a little bit too far out for that jump shot. Then he comes in a little bit closer. Then he makes the shot. That was the one observation. Second observation, she says, why is Jimmy Butler the only one wearing blue shoes? There is no blue in that uniform. I'm like, I told Mama, hey, the NBA Finals very similar to the NBA All-Star weekend. Right? NBA All-Star game, I should say. Everybody's bringing out the shoe game. Like, this is where all the retailers or the sponsors, whether it's Nike, Adidas, Puma, whoever, like all the basketball shoe manufacturers, this is actually the time that you put the shoes out. You have to have the finals edition. Right? Think about some of the great shoes. I mean, you're a Jordan guy, TJ. I'm a Jordan. I think we're all Jordan guys. Oh, yeah. But some of the more iconic Jordan pairs are his finals appearances, right? There's the flu game shoe, right? There's the final game shot, against the actual Utah Jazz where he hits it. You're like, man, a lot of his shoes are iconic because the biggest moments happen in the finals, and that's why all these shoes. So I still don't have an answer for her why he had blue shoes on. I just thought, he had blue shoes on. So, that was my third observation, or my second observation. My third observation, or her observation, I should say, where's Deion Sanders at? Ain't he in Colorado, too?
She said that.
Where's Deion Sanders at?
Yeah. He in Colorado, too.
That's a good question.
And I was like, you know what? Honestly, Mom, that is a really good question. I never thought about that. He's actually in Boulder. Boulder's about, I think, 45 to an hour away from Denver.
Hey, yeah,
he is the head coach at the... See, look I'm telling you, these are questions that I never thought, but I was like, that is a good question.
Where's Deion Sanders at?
Because, hey, Deion's supposed to be there. That's what she told me.
She thought he should be at the game.
Yeah, because it's kind of like royalty, right? I mean, like, you bring out the who's who. He's the new head coach.
School. I said, Peyton Manning was at game 1.
Peyton Manning was there.
Right,
Sean Payton was there, right? We've seen Russell Wilson has been there. We've seen, we just talked about Terrell Davis. So I said, like,
makes sense.
It makes sense.
I see where your mom came from.
At the end of the day, I was kind of pondering, like, why isn't Deion Sanders not there? He should be there, right?
Dan Issel was there. Alex English was there.
Absolutely.
Fat Lever was there somewhere.
That was number 3. Yeah. So, Bam Adebayo taking his shot. Jimmy Butler's blue shoes. Why isn't Deion there?
This is amazing.
So, I don't have any kind of allegiance to anyone, but I know that I sometimes after the game is over, I tend to turn to NBA TV because they give you the press conferences live, right? Instant reaction, right? And I know it's like the other networks, ESPN, they have other things that they have to cover, but if you want straight NBA, they're giving it to you. So I turn that one on. The first thing my mom sees is, wow, Charles Barkley really looking good with that weight he lost. I'm like, he is giving us an answer to that question, but all you see is his weight. Yeah, he's looking good. Yeah, that suit he got on, it wasn't fitting him that way before. It's kind of loose. I like this new Charles Barkley. So that is, that's another observation.
I think Chuck's lost 60 pounds.
He looks great.
I think he said something.
He looks great. And,
great.
him and Shaq have this chemistry. I mean, they're on the post-game coverage over on NBA TV. So, we're watching that and how funny it is. Both of those two going back and forth. Then you got the smooth Grant Hill in the middle, right? You know what I mean? Just keeping both those guys tame. So that was the fourth observation. And then the last observation was one in which I really had to explain to her because she didn't really understand it. But this is where... and won't even call it expertise, but my experience in television and let's say the media relations departments of teams. So there was a little sequence that at the end of the game that happened last night in which once the game ended, remember Jamal Murray misses the shot, game is over. If you notice, the Miami Heat immediately leave the court. Most importantly, Jimmy Butler. And then you have Mike Breen, who's vamping. When I say vamping, he's kind of talking the stall because he's allowing Lisa Salters to grab the star of the game or the most recognizable player.
Down.
So you got to chase somebody down. This is all the behind the scenes stuff that's going on that you don't see on television. But my experience of understanding and having to do this as well before, you know what's going on. So they ended up getting Bam Adebayo. Right? Remember Lisa Salters had the conversation with Bam after the game. Great little interview about how they played, this and that. And immediately after the interview, you saw Bam pointing and he got mad at somebody. And I don't know who it was. It was all over social media. People were like, oh, he's mad at a reporter for coming up to no. Reporters are not allowed on the floor. Yeah. So I had to tell my mom, just understand this. After the game is over, the calling network or the broadcast network gets first dibs. That means that who's ever broadcasting that game, they get first dibs on the star player or the player who they want to rep. They get. When Jimmy Butler left the court, Mom, now hell breaks loose because they probably wanted Jimmy, but you can't get Jimmy. So it's like, all right, who do we go with? Do we go with Bam? Where's Gabe Vincent? Everybody left the court. So now you have a PR team and the public, the public relations communications guys are like a mad dash trying to grab someone because we need someone. So they go out and they get Bam Adebayo. And so I think there was like a little not confrontation, but Bam's like, look, I told you I'm going to do one interview. That's it. And I'm going back in. And he's like, oh, my fault, Bam. We got to do one more. We got radio over here. We got to do this over here. And so you have this little bit of chaos that I had to explain to my mom. He wasn't upset at the situation. He was just upset that sometimes as a player after a game, you want to go back into the locker room and be with your guys. You just had an emotional win. You're on the road in the NBA Finals. You just won a game. Sometimes you don't have that in you to be like, okay, I'll do one interview, but then I want to go back and celebrate. And so you kind of had that. And Jimmy Butler immediately leaving the game. This is the stuff that I'm seeing. And I'm trying to explain to my mom. She was like, wow, why was he so upset? So he's upset because he's only probably promised one interview and he had to do all three of them because he was if you notice, the only guy left on the court, his entire team. I'm talking about triple zeros. They made a beeline and exit. And Bam Adebayo was the only one left. And he got caught in the media skirmish of the networks who actually get to do interviews on the court. So that was my mom's top 5 observations. It was really cool to do that. And so now I feel like she won't be here for game 3, but we're going to have this little discussion after the game of what she saw, and maybe I might have to tweet them out. That sounds pretty good. We'll continue to do this as well on the Rich Eisen Show.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.